Alright, I am so glad that I'm finally able to post this video out. I'm extremely grateful to Activision and Toys for Bobs for personally inviting me to be one of the few people to test out Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time demo for the past week. So just to keep you up to speed, last Friday I attended a private online conference which is hosted by Activision and Toys for Bobs, where the dev explains in 30 minutes what the game is all about, what their vision for the game is, and introducing us to the new gameplays and also a Q&A session. And then after that, those who attended received a demo for the game, so that we are able to download and test out Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time hands-on on the PS4 for about a week. And finally, right now at this specific time, the embargo has been officially lifted, and now I am allowed to show you some never seen before footage of the game together with so many new amazing things, which includes new gameplay, some deep look into the levels that I get to try hands-on, and also a new mask power that I got to try out. And I'm gonna drop so much more Crash Bandicoot 4 video after this, so now's a pretty good time to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now the gameplay you see on the screen right now is from the hands-on demo build of the game, which is given to me by Activision and Toys for Bobs, and keep in mind what you are about to see does not represent the final build of the game. As I said, it is in the demo stage, which means any problems, bugs that I've encountered, or even the gameplay and level itself may be different or removed in the final public release of the game. And also, another important point that you need to know, I can't show more than 3 minutes of gameplay per level according to the agreement we had with Activision, so I'm not able to show you the full gameplay of each level to you. So you will be seeing some repeated clips as we go along in this video, which is sufficient enough for me to get my points across, and also just enough for you to get a feel for the game yourself. And with that said, let's get on to the juicy part. Now I had about a week to experience the game and kinda felt what it's like, which involves the mechanics, the graphics, the levels especially, and many other new things that have never been seen before in previous Crash games. And in this demo build, I have got to experience 3 main levels to play from. First of which is the snow level, which is part of the main level named as Snow Way Out. The second level is another main level that we've seen before in the trailer, which is called Dino Dash. And the third level, we get a full hands-on experience to play as Dr. Neo Cortex, which is in the same level as the first one, Snow Way Out. And this is actually what the dev calls it, an optional level of the main story. Now there's something really cool showcased in this third level itself, and I really want to show you what it is. But let's start from the very beginning first of my demo playthrough, which begins in Snow Way Out as Crash Bandicoot. And right off the bat, I have to say that this game is possibly much harder than the Insane Trilogy. I was having such a hard time, you had no idea. And that is mainly because of the mask gameplay. Timing, precision, hand-to-eye coordination, and all of those are tested to the max in this game. Speaking of precision, the controls feels very different compared to the Insane Trilogy in terms of the movement control. Then again, it might be due to the much snappier animations that's making me feel a little bit off, but overall it takes some time in getting used to, and I felt right at home after playing about an hour of playtime. Also, WUMPA fruits now magnets to your character, and it seems that there are no way to accidentally spin the fruits away anymore. So that seems like a really good news, considering that they now are keeping track of how many WUMPA fruits you got from a certain level on the top left here. And I also got to test out what the right analog stick does, and you can now look around the area with the right analog stick, which is great if you wanna pick what's ahead, and I find this feature really helpful. Now over here, you can see some of the crate gameplay that you can get only with Kapunawa. And you might see me making it all look too easy, but trust me, it took me hours before I can do it as fluently as I can. Oh yeah, one thing about Kapunawa and other masks is that you can trigger the mask power on and off whenever you like. It doesn't seem like there's a time or cooldown tied to it. Again, not sure if they'll be added in the final game, but in this demo, it seems that there isn't any cooldown, which is actually good for me for a much more fluent gameplay. And yeah, here is the bonus stage that I've tried out in this level. Doesn't need any special requirement to enter it so far, but I'm sure that it will be added eventually. But anyway, just a small section of the bonus stage featuring in me utilizing the time stop mechanic from Kapunawa. And from here, you can already see how they will incorporate the mask power into your playthrough. So right after that bonus stage, here is the ship explosion which we all know about, and this actually ties into the third level of the game. Again, remember this scene specifically, I will show you why later on in the video. It is a really interesting concept that Toys for Bobs pulled off. And most of this level forward is already shown in the gameplay review that we all know of. I'm gonna save some surprises for my next videos. But before we move on, here's a few seconds of unedited gameplay with the soundtrack. Alright, now moving on to the second level, which is Dino Dash. Now this is also where we are finally able to see what Lenny Lolly's max power is all about, and that is phase shifting. Now only a small amount of gameplay in Dino Dash utilizes this phase shifting ability, but it is all we need to know to fully understand the extent of it. On the screen, you can see me using the power of Lenny Lolly to activate certain crates to become unfazed, which in turn for me to get. Not only that, here is a quick gameplay of me utilizing this newfound power to get through certain areas of the map. And I gotta say, even though you saw me pass this stage with flying colors, I failed multiple times in order to finally perfect this run. So yeah, it is much more harder than it actually looks. Just imagine that you need to look out for rocks, crates and monsters while moving up and down from the vines, jumping and pressing the phase shifting button all in the same instances. This truly tests your ability to multitask, and it is a good glimpse of how the difficulty actually scales in the rest of the maps. Now other than the new max power, you can see that there is a new yellow circle beneath Crash, and that is basically your indicator of where you are in the air. No more looking at shadows anymore like in the Insane Trilogy game. Also, here's a quick look at the bonus stage in Dino Dash, and trust me when I say it is hard. And as usual, here is the raw unedited gameplay with the soundtrack. Alrighty, now the third level that I got to try, which is No Way Out but playing as Dr. Neo Cortex. Now remember the ship explosion at our Crash Bandicoot playthrough in this map? Well, halfway through playing as Cortex in this level, we found out that it was actually Dr. Neo Cortex himself that blew the ship up. Just take a look at this.
Just a few more steps and you'll be Bandicoot Bob.
Now I don't know about you, but I actually chuckled here the first time I saw this. It was actually really funny. Now that is how you make a level. Toys for Bobs has mentioned before that they are going to focus more on storytelling in this game, and we just got a glimpse of how they will incorporate it into the level itself, which means that in the future, whenever you see something crazy happening while playing as Crash or Coco, it might be because of one or the villains doing, which may also be playable. And it also gives a good sense of, hey, why not let's look at the story both ways, and I personally find that makes the overall single player experience really engaging and fully interactive. Now let's talk about Cortex, right? Because in this third level, we play as him. Now he doesn't have a double jump, but instead a forward dash, which I sometimes tend to forget. Anyway, the dash feels really smooth, and it fits in helping you getting to a certain part of the map. And instead of a spinning ability, he has a gun that basically transforms anyone into two types of platforms, one of which is the Blockifier, which turns them into a solid state platform, and if you blast them again for the second time, it turns them into a bounceable platform, which is also called the Gelatinize. Now to get an idea of how the dash works, you can see me in the gameplay here trying not to touch the nitro crates, and what you can see here is that whenever you do the dash in mid-air, you immediately stop levitating and move forward. Now this is just one example of how the forward dash is able to help you and Cortex in passing certain stages. Now, right in the middle of playing this optional level as Cortex, we get the reveal that Cortex is the one who blew the ship up, and this is where you will transition from playing as Cortex to playing as Crash once more. And from here onwards, the journey and the levels are the same. There's no difference as far as I can tell, besides more crates and different placements of traps and monsters. So the way you play from here onwards will be very different compared to the first level as Crash Bandicoot in No Way Out, even though they are the same level. Which brings me to one realization on the 100+ level statement from Toys for Bobs. I can definitely see it possible this way, so we're probably going to see a lot of repeated levels with different characters, with a different twist depending on whether you are playing as Cortex, Crash, Coco, etc. I actually want to confirm this and see if the level does indeed get repeated for other maps. We know that we are able to play as Cortex in Dino Dash based on the review trailer, but unfortunately that level is not available in the demo that we had. We only had these 3 levels, so we can't fully confirm whether this will be a thing throughout the whole game, you know, in terms of the repeated levels, just with different crate placements and such. So I guess we'll just have to stay tuned until we get to see more levels ourselves. But enough of my chattery, here is a raw unedited gameplay for your viewing pleasure in terms of the sound and voices.
bandicoots are en route, I must reach the spot.
Now of course, while the game looked great, I did encounter a few drop in FPS throughout my playthrough, especially in this waterfall area, and I am using a PS4 Slim if that actually contributes to it. But yeah, Activision Toys for Bobs, if you're actually seeing this video, might want to take a look at this certain area here. And speaking of FPS, we had asked the developers on what the final build will be in regards to the FPS, and since that the game is still in tech phase, they responded that they are still figuring out on it, so there's no final confirmation on whether it will be 30 FPS or 60 FPS. But based on the demo that I played, it's definitely on 30 FPS for now. And of course, Aku Aku. So Aku Aku will be there as usual in order to help you in your journey as how he did in the Insane Trilogy and previous Crash games. So far from the demo I played, you can only get him through crates, which is the usual style that we are used to, which is different from the Quantum Mass. So there is a slight difference between Aku Aku and the Quantum Mass, or at least that's as far as we know. And also, just want to point out that yes, there is a modern and retro mode to choose from, but mostly I'm just playing it in modern mode just so that I can die as many times as I want while testing the game out. What you see here on the top right is the death counter for modern mode. So overall, the game is looking fantastic so far, and it is exactly as I had imagined when I first saw the review trailer. I will be posting much more videos about this based on my experience from playing the demo, as there are so much more to cover. So yeah, like the usual, like the video if you like it and subscribe if you're new here. Now's a great time to do so. I will be doing a Q&A that you can ask me about the game, just in case you have some questions that are perhaps left unanswered or you simply want to know more. Leave a comment down below and I will tend to it in a separate video. Speaking of comment, the comment of the day from my previous video goes to Hurtful13. Thank you for commenting on my last video and congratulations on getting the comment of the day. Also, quick thanks to the supporters of the channel. This channel wouldn't be how it is today without you. And also, we have our very first King Cobra tiered member of the channel, Coco B Fan. And if you want to be part of the shoutout, you can do so by clicking on the join button just beside the subscribe button. Again, all of you that are watching are simply amazing. So thanks a lot and really appreciate it. And while you're still here, click on these two videos right now, as I'm sure you will enjoy it as much as you enjoyed this one. This is TheViperian signing off, and stay tuned for my next video.